Lancet, the reputed medical journal, has said the Russian COVID vaccine is safe. In the latest report, they've said that Sputnik V is safe and there is evidence that it induces an antibody response. The report says, and I quote, the vaccine produced antibody response in all participants in early stage trials. 2 trials were conducted in June, July involving 76 participants. All 76 participants developed antibodies and there is no signs yet of adverse side effects among anybody who actually was part of that. Well, joining me now live from Moscow is Mr. Kirill Dmitriev. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, which is directly involved in bringing together international technology to fight COVID and has been involved really in the funding of this Russia's COVID vaccine. Sir, are you happy with the Lancet report, which gives, in a sense, some validation to the vaccine, the Russian vaccine, which has been questioned by so many people?
Yes, definitely. I think Lancet, is a really professional publication, one of the best publications in medical field. And we very much appreciate that despite some of the political pressure, they published results that they know are very good. And the results really show stellar performance of Russian vaccine. We believe they clearly show that Russian vaccine is the leader right now. Because, for example, it showed that the level of antibodies with the vaccine increases 1.5 times versus somebody who's been very sick with COVID. And, for example, AstraZeneca's vaccine only reaches the level similar to a patient who's been sick with COVID. We also showed that some people who have had adenovirus before still have great results from the vaccine. So pre-existing immunity to adenovirus doesn't cause any difficulty with the vaccine. And more importantly, it showed that our two different vectors approach is the best one.
Because Mr. Dmitriev, one of the questions being asked, you said political pressure. Why did you say that? Because I think some of the questions being raised by scientists is that the sample size of just 76 participants is too small to get valid results.
Well, I'll just give you one number from AstraZeneca study. So the number of people out of 1,000 people clinical trial who received 2 shots is only 10 people. So by this number, we have 4 times the number of people than AstraZeneca who received 2 shots. But even more importantly, our vaccine is based on 6-year-old vaccine against Ebola, which we slightly modified. So frankly, it's a 6-year-old vaccine that has been studied extensively. And the biggest difference is we use human adenovirus. It's a virus that people lived with hundreds of thousands of years before. And for example, AstraZeneca uses monkey adenovirus that humans have never had. There are no long-term studies of that. So I think the Lancet study is very clear that human adenovirus platform is very reliable, very well researched. It mentions that there have been 250 clinical studies of human adenovirus before.
No, absolutely. That's a very interesting point, really, making that point as compared to AstraZeneca one. But sir, just today, the World Health Organization has said that the world can only expect a vaccine in mid-2021. Do you agree with that estimate?
Well, I think, again, what they said is that mass vaccination in the world will happen in mid-2021. Russian vaccine will be available for countries who are willing to work with us in November of this year. We are already vaccinating our people. Today there was a report that our mayor of Moscow is vaccinated. Our Minister of Defense, you just showed on your pictures, is vaccinated. We get people vaccinated right now. And US and Britain also acknowledged that it's possible to have vaccine registered before the end of phase 3 trials. They were against this just 3 weeks ago, but last week they said, oh yeah, maybe we can consider it. Right. So there is no question that Russia is following the right approach. Other countries follow it. And the Lancet publication clearly shows that the fact that Russia focused on safe human adenovirus platform puts it in a leadership position over some newer technologies that still need, as you said, several years to be proven. And those technologies unproven are monkey adenovirus and mRNA.
Sir, as you're saying, it's very interesting that now it almost has become about a geopolitical aspect also about vaccines, a global nationalism for vaccines. Now, we know that in a sense, the US is saying that we're going to have our first vaccines out in November, timed perhaps to the US presidential polls, as opponents say, where scientists there say we're not going to rush it. What's your take on that? And 2, when will India see this Russian vaccine? Because we know that already India and Russia are in talks about manufacturing of this here.
Yeah. So first of all, we believe that if you have a safe platform that has been studied like ours for 6 years and have been tested on millions of people, you can use and register it before phase 3 trials, which what Russia has done. But we only give it right now mostly to high-risk personnel in hospitals, and mass vaccination will start in October. We are working to start clinical trials in India already in September. We're in great talks with your government, and we really love your scientists and companies, because your scientists and companies go deep to understand Russian technology.
Right.
So we expect to manufacture 300 million doses of our vaccines in India. We already started technology transfer process to some of the Indian companies, and India, we believe, will be a global hub for vaccine production, not for the Russian vaccine, but for others. And Russia comes as a partner. We really have put our vaccine out there. We were attacked a lot by the West. We answered all of the questions. And now we just ask one of our own, which you heard. Show us long-term studies of safety of your vaccines. And there are none.
Right. Well, that's great to hear. We're looking forward to the clinical trials beginning here in India. And as you said, India potentially a global vaccine manufacturer now. Thanks so much for joining us. And as I said, great news from that Lancet report as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.